QWER, who you may know as QWER. We are here to check out the last song on their 6-track mini third album called In a Million Noises I'll Be Your Harmony. That's a lot of words. I need to give myself more breathing room when I say these intros. But yeah, look, this has been really interesting. I've been obviously following, getting more and more into this journey of listening, to their music after they were first brought to my attention. I've done videos talking about how I feel like they could be potentially very important for the Korean music scene. And, you know, this has been a really eye-opening moment because obviously we've covered so many of their singles. I wanted to just sit down and listen to, okay, what do they do on an album? Because it's often those tracks in between that give you a better idea for what's really going on. We've reacted to their live content, which I usually don't do, but I wanted to do that to sort of prove just how legit a band they actually were. And yeah, I was impressed. I think they've popularized the musician's journey in Korea. I think there's so many good things to take from this band. But here we are at this last song, and I've got to be honest, this album so far has been quite fascinating. If I was just talking about how much I liked each of the individual songs, I'd say so far I really enjoyed this. First track was brilliant. Second track was a little bit more disposable. It was a ton of fun. Definitely a re-listener. Third track, decent K-pop song. Enjoyed that. Then we had like a decent drum and bass song. D-Day I absolutely adored. I love the balance. I love the sound, the tone, the whole thing. But if we were talking about this on the idea of what moves the needle, as in sounding like a band, and let's be honest, they play as a band. They definitely have the skills to play as a band. We've seen it. I would say that the first track, Dear and Be Happy, definitely sounded like band songs. Hashtag QWER and Overdrive kind of didn't really sound like band songs at all for me. And D-Day was somewhere in that middle where it was like, it sounded like a band song, but it was like so much going on in the production that it kind of could go either way. So I'm hoping that Yours Sincerely, which again is another 3-minute song. I'm hoping that this kind of brings us around with something. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a ballad. It's called Yours Sincerely. It's the end of the album. Sounds like it's going to be a ballad, but it's only 3 minutes long. How can a ballad only be 3 minutes long? Some of them can. Let's find out. Anyway, I'm kind of interested. Again, I got no idea what I'm walking into here, but I'm hoping we get to hear a little bit of... we've heard so much of the pop flavor and the joy and the bounce. I really hope this gives a chance to kind of get a little bit of the human touch of QWER right at the end of the album. I don't know. This could be anything. This could be a heavy metal track for all I know. So let's just enjoy this. I just really want them to go out on a high at the end of this really cool mini album. All right, here we are. This is Yours Sincerely, I think. Let me just double check that name again. Yours Sincerely. Let's go. Okay, it might be a ballad. Nice harmony. Funk just from the acoustic there. Oh, that's nice. I'm definitely hearing the multiple voices here. Love that harmony. It felt like it was about to drop in there. There it is. Such a beautiful balance of being both. Oh, Cajon, okay. I didn't even notice this was on a Cajon instead of a drum kit. Yeah, just the balance again. 2 guitars interplaying, the vocal harmonies. Nice, with a little piano. So the piano and the guitar are playing matching, I think. Oh god, it's over already? Someone in the comments told me recently, oh, K-pop songs are all like 3 minutes long now, but I don't know, I could have just let that one roll. It's the last song in the album. You could have just let that roll out for another minute, because that was just, the sound there was so gorgeous. Yeah, I feel like that ended too quickly. It's a great ending, but it's one of those ones where you know it's the last song. It's just there, and then just play out on the just keep on strumming the acoustic. Just give us like another 30 seconds or a minute of just that, and then just sing some like ad-lib vocals and just this is one of those ones you don't have to rush. You let it play out, let it finish, give it some time, let it breathe. Oh man, I enjoyed this though. This was, so this is like the most basic, simple formula for a ballad, and yet when you do it right, you can get something like this. This was gorgeous, because a couple of things going for it. I mean, look, we know vocally, QWER, we've got some beautiful vocalists here. Obviously, lead vocalist. Sorry, I'm really bad at remembering the names. Lead vocalist. She's got a gorgeous voice. I really like her voice, but she's not the only one in the group who's actually a really beautiful singer. So hearing this, I wasn't sure exactly who was singing. I wouldn't remember the names anyway, because, me. But hearing the multiple vocals anyway, it gave it an extra layer. But then when they, at first it was nice just hearing the multiple vocals, but when they started harmonizing in the chorus, beautiful harmonies, really gorgeous, really added a lot in there. I enjoyed that hugely. And then it was interesting because in the same way that the vocals were harmonizing, the acoustic guitars were kind of almost doing the guitar equivalent of that, in that one guitar is sort of like strumming, and the strummed rhythm acoustic was nice. It had sort of good little bit of funk to it, nice little stopping on the notes, like a jump, 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 that sort of nice, sort of gave it a little bit of funk before even the cajon, the percussion instrument, had come in. It was really nice hearing that, just giving a bit of rhythm to the song, whilst we got that beautiful picked lead guitar that had been in throughout the entire song. So that was gorgeous. Well, the bass here did a nice thing. This is the kind of song where the bass really all it has to do is just sort of like gently sort of pick out the chord pattern in the background. Usually something that I'm not a big fan of in other genres of music, but in these kind of ballads, that kind of works because everything else is so delicate that it's just kind of the glue that holds everything together. It's that little sort of soft, indication of each chord that is sort of strung between all of the arrangement. Love that. So the percussion, like I say, a cajon, in case you're not familiar with what a cajon is, you're used to a usual drum kit which you sit in front of. A cajon is just kind of like you might have seen it's like a little wooden box you sit on, and then you should tap between your legs. Sort of like the box is under you, so you're tapping yourself. You know what I mean. And it's got like various parts. So if you tap different parts, you get a different sound, because there's like a little snare chain inside one bit, and so you can get like quite a convincing drum beat sound of that as they had here. And it was obviously a cajon, but it came in so naturally. Like it just sort of flowed in so naturally and so perfectly into the song that I didn't even register it. I was just like, yeah, there you go, perfect. The beats come in. I was like, wait, yeah, not only is that the beat, it's a cajon beat. So that was cool. Yeah, I mean, realistically, you had like vocal, second layer vocal, 2 guitars, bass, and cajon was pretty much this entire song, but that was still quite a lot of layering. I mentioned that there was like a little bit of a solo. It sounded a lot to me like there was I might be wrong on this. It sounded like there was a piano quietly mirroring the lead guitar. I don't know if that was just something about the way it was recorded. If Andy's watching this, Andy's my guitar guy. Andy, let me know. But it sounded to me like there was a piano in the mix layered underneath the guitar, which gave it this beautiful tone. So that solo bit had a really gorgeous tone, but it sounded like a acoustic layered on a piano. Anyway, there you go. Those are my thoughts. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a really nice way of ending the album. I think, to be honest, I could have done with more of it. Just especially, when it's the last song, you got permission. There's 2 ways to end an album. It's 3 ways to end an album. One of them is just short, sharp, and shocking. That's cool. I respect that. You do it on a punk album or something. That's really cool. Other way to do it, is to have like a big crescendo where it builds up and it's like the huge, gorgeous, glorious, final, massive farewell, like Babe Metal had on their most recent album. And then you've got songs like this where it's like the gentle serenade at the end. And I'll tell you what, 2 out of those 3 should be allowed to play out to the greatest extent that they can. So I felt like this one deserved a little bit more time to say goodbye properly. However, yours sincerely, that's what you underwrite at the bottom of a letter, isn't it? So I guess this was a farewell in that terms. I'm looking forward to hearing more of them. This was just great. I really enjoyed this. I don't know. I'm probably going to come around to do an album review of this at some point. Sit down and just give like my thoughts on that, on this entire album. But I must say, I usually give thoughts on an album. So I do these reactions because obviously reactions are a popular format. But I usually do my album reviews by sitting down and like really listening to the album a lot and thinking about it and writing down my notes and doing a proper review like I used to do when I did written reviews. So I got to say this is one where I'll give it a proper thought before I give my full judgment. But definitely on pure enjoyment, this was gorgeous. As a band album, it has its ups and downs, but as a general, I think it serves the purpose. But yeah, just moreover, just as a little enjoyment for the ears, it's brilliant. And this final track was a really great way to say goodbye. I'm not too sure about the flow of the album. I've got to be honest, the flow of the album does feel a bit weird. Like I'm not quite sure whether these tracks flow in a very good order like this. Definitely the first track into Be Happy and then Be Happy into #QWER probably works. Then Overdrive, there's a bit of a strange to it, but it's when you curve back around to D-Day, that feels weird. D-Day after Overdrive feels weird, and then Yours Sincerely after D-Day definitely feels weird. So I think the order feels a little bit more like a bundle of songs than it really does, like a mini album. But this is all stuff I'll think about and then give a final review when I've had a chance to listen to the album multiple times over. But that's my first thoughts. As always, thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. As always, I'm honest on this channel. I give honest opinions. I only really talk about music that I actually enjoy. But if you love something, you have honest opinions about it. So I give my honest opinions, and I'm really appreciate that you guys have been watching this series and enjoying it with me. I will be checking out more of QWER's other stuff, maybe diving into some of the live stuff, following some of your recommendations. There might be some music videos I've missed, but also having a look at, maybe I was thinking at some point I might follow up on their diary if people are really I don't know whether to enjoy that in my own free time or whether to share that as a reaction. But if you guys are enjoying this, then I might well share that with you. But look, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. As always, get in the comments. Tell me what you think. We'll have more QWER coming up at some time. I try to cover like all of the bands who I'm really interested like this. I try to cover them at least once a month, sometimes more if I've got something like this going on. But anyway, see you soon in the next video, whether it be QWER or something else. And until I hopefully do, for now, ciao, ciao.